All right, peace, peace, peace. What up? First and foremost, hopefully the Most High in your house shall blessing your day. By His mercies, you aren't consumed. We're alive in the Most High in your house as body, and two, we're naturally alive, man. And yeah, man, I just want to give it's a beautiful day out, man. Like like David says, this is his day that he made. Let's rejoice and be glad in this. Self-examine. Like I will say, self-examine. That's not the word. Self-examine. Try to increase our faith, obedience, and our wisdom, knowledge, and understanding in Him. In our walk, and even in our life. But it kind of is interchangeable, man. Because like Proverbs 3:6 says, acknowledge Him in all your ways, man. But I want to get into this, man, because shout out to the brother of some of your firstborn, because I have been meaning to do this, honestly, and also, yeah, the brother of semi firstborn, he mentioned it in the class the other day on the video about how, a lot of times too, because we live in the kind of because it's all going to tie into Yahweh Shai, man, how his countenance and Adam, it's all going to tie into one another. But we kind of live in honestly, I was actually having this conversation with somebody a while back, like a month or so ago. We live in such the pause era now, and it's because don't get it twisted, we kind of even growing up and stuff like that, we wouldn't say pause, well that's kind of a New York East Coast thing. Well, we would say pause, but we say no homo, stuff like that. I was I was also talking about that with my brother when he came over here. But we was stuff like that. But now it's just kind of overdone, because shout out to Cameron and Mace and stuff like that on the Is What It Is podcast. But that's a New York type of thing. They've been doing that since for decades now, the whole pause thing. That's just how they talk. But it's a lack of because everything, because it's how people's minds is, because this is how evil and how lustful and stuff like that this world has gone even more, because it was always like that, especially throughout time, but even more now, it's just getting heightened and heightened, because people's minds just think of something this everything's just so damn sexual, man. Because because even in the word it says greet each other with a holy kiss. If you were to try to explain that to a modern person, now they kind of think what you mean, that's gay and stuff like that. Really, it's kind of how the mafia does. That's where they get it from, stuff like that. Or how, of course, that's why I think TD Jakes, I'm not sure if he said this or not, but it's on record. Or other people say this when David stripped himself for Jonathan, and they just thought that was gay and stuff like that, and it's stuff like that. It's a lack of security. Pretty much, it's just a lack of security in and one, especially for men in their manhood, because don't get it twisted, man. Because even in the word, it's this word was written by holy men, and it was written by men. Even sometimes it said men how certain men, how we're about to get into it, how certain other men had they were good looking, they had good countenances, but were they gay, were they homosexual? No. So it's just really like that. So that's really because that pause era is really it kind of got out of control. Now this pause era is kind of got out of control with that. So it's lack of security, because honestly, man, you could it's not you could at least see, because a lot of times too, I'm trying to look at think of somebody, for example, right? You could see, I was using this for example, right? Because you could see a lot of times it's on a natural tip, right? How a lot of the certain man, whether it's a famous celebrity, athlete, or something like that, you could see how women would be attracted to him. You'd be okay, cool, that's a good looking, handsome man, but you're not that you're homosexual, but it's you could see okay, cool, I could see why, you see why, what you call them, it just what we call them pretty boys and things, and that's all what it is. Okay, you can tell. Okay, that nigga that's there, the pretty boy and stuff like that, or the women like him, stuff like that. Now, because it's called you called him a pretty boy and things of that nature. Does that mean And I know this too, right? I know this too. This only our people do that, because other Esau and all these other nations, most like that, they don't really do that. They might do it here and there, but they don't do that as much. But we gotta, this is more of a nigga pride type of thing. Can't acknowledge, okay, cool. Oh, that's a good looking dude. Whatever. I see why, which come, women like him, whatever. You see the appeal, but, but that's not, you're not homosexual. It's just saying it is what it is. But we're about to get into this too. But all this ties into that, because I'm going to get into how this all ties into, Yahweh Shai, man, because, and David, because, we gonna get into like even why David was ruddy, man, because this is all time being going into being a son and daughter of the Most High in your house, shall pretty much being a son of God. Like, and we're gonna look at this in this aspect since we talking about like the physical appearance, but it was more of a spiritual meaning. Why? Like, cause if you look at like let's just read First Samuel 17 real quick. It says First Samuel chapter 17 and verse 43. And the Philistine said unto David, am I a dog, and that thou comest to me with the staves? And the Philistine cursed David by his God. No, okay, no, I'm reading. I'm reading the word verse above. My bad, y'all. It says, and when the Philistines looked about and saw David, he disdained him, for he was but a youth and ruddy and had a fair countenance. So pause. With that on a natural tip, this means kind of ruddy. David was very light skinned, because that ruddy is different than Esau's ruddy. Esau's red, pretty much like like they have, like they say for so-called Caucasian rednecks. He was red. Esau was red, or a so-called Caucasian. I'm just talking about physical appearance, just off of that. But ruddy for David's ruddy was he was more of a light skin, like like in the Malcolm X movie, like how they call Malcolm X before he came Malcolm X, red, like or like Red Fox or Big Red from the Five Heartbeats. Even with our light skin sisters, what do we call them? Red bone. That red is different from the Caucasian red or Esau's red, the so-called Caucasian or Esau's red. Like that there's a difference between there. So David's pretty much light skin, like he's a light skinned pretty boy, pretty much. That's what like that's just his voice, but but he was a warrior at the end of the day too. Don't get that twisted. That's what the word goes into. Listen, don't be like deceived by looks, man. Like don't judge not according to appearance as well. But because I think actually, but side note, Mace said that one time on the podcast. He said, I don't know why dudes think because they're not like ugly dudes think that just makes them tough. It doesn't, man. So and that's just because somebody's like just because it might be a pretty boy don't mean like dude a pretty boy don't mean he's soft either. So like it's that's neither here nor there. But that is that clip was funny though. Mace was funny on that. But let's get this First Samuel chapter 17 verse 42. And when the Philistine looked about and saw David, he disdained him, for he was but a youth, and ruddy and of a fair countenance. So yeah, that's just is what it is right there. But but that ruddy, but naturally he was pretty much David was light skinned. He was like like Malcolm X, like in the movie, it says like Big Red or like Big Red from the Five Heartbeats. He was red. He was ruddy. He was light skinned. That's like we say with our light skinned sisters. Like they're red bones, or just different from an Esau red. But pretty much with this, right, with the whole even King David even storyline, right? Rod's calling him Ruddy. Do you know? Y'all know that what you call him? I'm pretty sure y'all know this. But Adam his name means Ruddy. So this is all pretty much saying that David was a son of God, pretty much. He was a son of the Most High Yahushua. He was a son of God. This all ties into Yahushua. Why? Because this wasn't when David, he wasn't king yet, but this is pretty much later on he was already king, ordained from the Most High and Yahushua to be king. But this all lines up with Yahushua because so he's ruddy, like pretty much a son. Adam was a son of God, and Adam means ruddy. So David had a ruddy countenance. So this was saying that David was a son of God, and also he's a king. So sounds familiar, right? Yahushua, the son of the Most High, it's the son of God, and also the king. So this is why even if you really think and meditate on this, why David was his physical appearance, because like Yahushua said, my words are spirit, man. Like spiritually looking at this is why he was like he had the ruddy countenance, but But even like Yahushua, Isaiah 53:2 says like there would be no comeliness to him. It was like David Yahushua was like was supposed to I don't even know what that is. Was supposed to like this is going into the power of the Most High and the Most High pretty much. Why Yahushua he was supposed to be a different type of king, because David and Saul and Solomon was like they were known for being comely. They were known for being attractive. They were known for their good looks. But Yahushua, it was like it was come to offset like, okay, this is gonna be a different type of king, man. He's gonna it's just it is what it is, but really what the key is about that was like in 1 Samuel 16:7, like it says the inward man. That's why Yahushua wasn't like those, man. Even though those were, for the exception of Saul, even those men, the inward man that was right with the Most High and Yahushua, man, the inward man was very faithful, obedient, and um, righteous men, but also too, they just happened to be very good looking. But Yahushua, that was what was pretty much meant to. The point was, while Yahushua had no comeliness, to him, but even like the word says, Yahushua was comely to us spiritually, but physically, they just said like his physical appearance wasn't, but spiritually, who he was. So that's just, it is what it is right there. So it all ties into that, man. So I just wanted to go into that, man, because that was focused on the inward man. Let's actually since we mentioned it, let's get that, because there's many other places too as well. No, we're gonna get that here in Sirach, and we could go then Proverbs 31. We'll go into that real quick. First Samuel chapter 16, verse 7. But the Lord said unto Samuel, look not on his countenance, nor the height of his stature, because I have refused him. For the Lord seeth not as man seeth. For the Lord looketh, for man looketh on the outward appearance, but the Lord looketh on the heart. Yeah, the inward man, who you are. Let's grab this too. Ecclesiastes. Let's go Proverbs real quick. Then we're gonna get Ecclesiasticus. All right. That's it, man. But that all ties into, because Adam means ruddy, and David had ruddy countenance. So that pretty much what I was saying is David was the son of God and also the king. Just like it's all tying up with Yahushua. But naturally, David was pretty much more than likely he was light skinned, pretty much. But who David was even more important than his physical, appearance, man. Let's get this Proverbs 30. Proverbs 31:30. He says, because this is both, because this word goes into, listen, it's not always about the looks, man. It's not always about the outward appearance, man. That's why a lot of people in the word, outside the word. This is life mess up, man. Because it's not always about that. I mean, of course, naturally, don't get twisted. We're human beings who are visual and things of that nature. We have certain attractions and preferences, but at the end of the day, man, there's there could be what you call them, yeah, but there could be what you call them, there could be a good looking man, but he's evil, wicked as hell. There's a bunch of women like that, and this happens all the time. Women out here drop that gorgeous, but the damn dragon, the evil, wicked as hell. But that's why it's the word even says don't get caught up in the looks, things of that nature. But anyway, Proverbs chapter 31 verse 30 says, favor is deceitful and beauty is vain, but a woman that feareth the Lord, she shall be praised. So yeah, it tells brothers and sisters like that as well. For the women and for men and women. Let's get to Sirach chapter 9, then we're gonna get we're gonna get 11 real quick. It says, Ecclesiasticus, also known as Sirach chapter 9 verse 8. Turn thine eye from a beautiful woman. Look not upon another's beauty, for many have been deceived by the beauty of a woman, and for herewith love is kindled as a fire. So see, exactly. So now is this saying, of course, because Jacob, it's a balance too, because of course Jacob saw Rachel, and he saw Rachel and he kissed her, man. He was very attracted to her, so of course we're saying that, but now it's kind of going to not being having some type of self-control over your lust, and looking at something I really had to, that scripture, something I really struggle with, man. It's looking, because that's why it even says in the world, every piece of bread is sweet to a whoremonger, man. Just going ooh and ah over every woman, man. So that's just is what it is. Because naturally, man, you're going to look at women, it happens, but that's just is what it is right there. But yeah, man. But let's get this too. Ecclesiasticus, also known as Sirach chapter 11 verse 2. Commend not a man for his beauty, neither a poor man for his outward appearance. So yeah, man, that's just is what it is with that, man. But this all ties into David and being the son of God, man, son of Most High Yahushua, and also the king. This also ties up with Yahushua, man, because Adam means ruddy, and David had a ruddy countenance, and David was the he was the son of God, and also too he was the king. This ties into Yahushua, how he was the son of God, and he was the king, and he's the king. So yeah, man, that's just is what it is. So hopefully it's edifying. So peace.